Yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, ya la 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 lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Let's sing yai lai.
It's automatically beautiful Friday evening, but how particularly beautiful this Friday. Ma yafeh hayom, how beautiful is the day.
Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
We turn to page 14 for Hallelujah. So many reasons for Hallelujah. The crisp, clear, dark sky, Jupiter right above, Mars in the sky later, feeling the cold wind on our faces. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's try that again. Hallelujah, 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 el bekocho, hallelujah, berkiauzo, hallelujah, migurotam, hallelujah, yerov gudelo, hallelujah, hallelujah, beteka shofar, hallelujah, benevel vechinor, hallelujah, betofu mahol, hallelujah, bemining veugal, hallelujah, 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 betziltale shama, hallelujah, betziltale trua, kol haneshama, te hallelujah, kol haneshama, te hallelujah. Hallelujah.
On Shabbat, the tradition teaches us we get an extra soul, a neshama yetera, because one soul isn't enough to hold all the joy we can experience on Shabbat. But the one soul we started with is probably cluttered with a lot of stuff. So we take a few moments as we enter Shabbat to slow down. If you wish to close your eyes, to breathe in and out slowly, to let go of the stuff that clutters, obscures the spirit, to let go of it. We'll take a few minutes of quiet, and when the music brings us back, we will light these lights and see the way to you, the eternal.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And let us say Amen. Come, let us welcome Shabbat. L'chunaranana can be found on page 4. L'chunaranana l'Adonai, Naria litzorishenu. L'chunaranana l'Adonai, Naria litzorishenu.
That melody comes from a prayer group in Israel called Nava Tehillah. Go figure. Page 10, the words Lecha Joji, come my friend. We don't want the words not to feel honest and real. There are a lot of people here who need to be welcomed as friends. So I invite you to get up, introduce yourself to someone who needs a welcome, and wish them Shabbat Shalom.
אתבלע גם בשמחה ובצוך עולם תוך אמוני הסגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Please remain standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, page 15.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
יעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיידךו בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמירה במבורח לעולם עולמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמר קדושה ריחו לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Please turn to page 17. In the last few weeks, members of Kol Ami have traveled all the way to Egypt. Members of Kol Ami have traveled to the Civil Rights South, to Montgomery, Selma, Birmingham, to places of great beauty and suffering, both in all places. Page 17 in the margin, we read together. Praise me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Curse me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Praise me or curse me, and I will know that you love me. Sing out my graces, says God. Raise your fist against me and revile, says God. Sing out graces or revile. Reviling is also a kind of praise, says God. But if you sit fenced off in your apathy, says God, if you sit entrenched in, I don't give a hang, says God, if you look at the stars and yawn, if you see suffering and don't cry out, if you don't praise and you don't revile, then I created you in vain, says God.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. ואני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Please be seated. Page 21, central to the story we tell about ourselves is our story of redemption. We remember in the story that along this trek toward freedom, there were young and old, able in different ways, and they were always hungry to share the journey. And there's a lot of food to share. So on your way out, and after services, after dinners, after program, if there's still bags of food out there, please grab one or two to share with someone who works with you, someone who works for you, a friend or a neighbor. Page 21, Mi Chamocha.
Mi הקיף עד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
The Amida begins on page 23. We start together, and then there's time to continue on our own. Those who are able, we rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imachot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Mager, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim ve'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, Melech memit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
Page 28.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amecha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amecha. Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav. Ki ata melech Adon, melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech Adon, melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
For so many of us, Egypt is on the short list of places we would love to visit and to experience. So it's with pleasure that we invite a few of our travelers forward and to share a few moments of reflection. Doris Dingat, Josh Seiden, Alan Steinfeld, and Andrew Ward.
Good evening. Thank you for coming to this special Sabbath. I'm Doris Dingat, as I was introduced, and some background. I'm a 54-year member of Kol Ami, that's high 3 times, and makes very special. Since I retired in 1995, I had the pleasure of joining Rabbi Shira on several trips. The last one was 2000, the first trip to Morocco. So why would I take a long trip to Israel with 40 other Kol Ami members 22 years later? Well, it was opportunity. I had never visited Egypt. I knew the Jews did not build the pyramid, but there is a Jewish connection. Egypt was an ancient civilization. But I ran through the Met's permanent exhibition. I never really stopped to look. Egypt was safe. I hadn't traveled abroad since 2019. I signed up, waited for COVID to dissipate, and there I was on October 19th, waiting with 5 other Kol Ami members to board Egyptian Air. It was an adventure and so many memories. Egypt was an extraordinary civilization, accomplished in architecture, engineering, mathematics, art, culture. Not enough adjectives to describe the wonders we saw that were created more than 5,000 years ago and appreciated and influenced the Greeks and the Romans. And eventually, Egypt is captured. So sadly, to become, over a period of time, a third world country. Flying from Cairo to Aswan and then Luxor via a bus, we glimpsed at both ancient and modern Egypt. How exciting to witness recently discovered tombs, read the newspapers reporting the current day of discoveries and issues of climate change causing damage to the ancient structures. All this so real. Ahmed and Sam were most attentive, knowledgeable, and caring guides. Part 2 of my impressions. 40 people. I had always avoided traveling with a group. Yes, I knew quite a few people, so nice to reconnect with people I worked with as a vice president, board member, and met through other Kol Ami activities. Wonderful to connect names and faces that surfaced in the temple connections, and very special to share stories with so many new people. Although I am almost a generation or so older than many, I was always comfortable. Together, we shared our wondrous experiences. I pretended Greg, Allie, and Josh were my grandchildren. To Shara, Jess, and the entire family, as we called ourselves, thank you for this remarkable adventure. Thank you.
Okay. One of my favorite episodes of the Comedy Central show South Park is called Simpsons Did It. In the episode, which if you are a child, I would not recommend you watch, the boys of South Park try to think of elaborate schemes to take over the world, but quickly realize that each one has already been performed on another hit animated show, The Simpsons. No matter how original, crazy, or stupid each of their ideas were, they quickly realized they had not only been originated on The Simpsons, but perfected. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I took a great family trip. I knew I would see the pyramids and likely a camel, but what I did not realize is that I too would be transported onto an episode of South Park, but instead of The Simpsons did it, it was the Egyptians. Want to come up with architectural marvels? Egyptians did it. How about originating key fashions and beauty? Egyptians did it. Complex surgeries? Egyptians. Monotheistic God? Egyptians even did that too. Dodge COVID for 11 days in Egypt, and you quickly start realizing that maybe the Egyptians actually figured out everything. And we're just making slight tweaks to plans they put in motion thousands of years ago. I find this thought kind of cool. Even the cutting edge of thought has an ancient foundation, giving it structure and encouraging it to be all it can be. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun.
Shabbat Shalom. I grew up in the Bronx in the heyday of the doo-wop era. Now that was music. One of the perennial top 100 hits heard in the annual New Year's Eve countdown on AM radio was You Belong to Me by the Duprees. Now, if you don't know what the Bronx is, if doo-wop is unknown to you, if the New Year's Eve countdown is a mystery, and if you never heard of AM radio, turn to someone near you who's got gray hair and ask them to explain it. You Belong to Me, as done by the Duprees, the opening line, see the pyramids along the Nile, is a classic of the era. But while you can see the pyramids from the Nile, if your hotel room is on a high enough floor, they actually are about 7 miles from the river, hardly along it. So early in our trip, I had one of the truths of my early years shattered: no pyramids along the Nile. What about other more important truths that our traveling to Egypt was supposed to help us explore? Avadim hayinu, we were slaves. We say these words every year at our seders, but were we slaves in Egypt? Did we build the pyramids? And was the heretic pharaoh Akhenaten, during whose 17-year reign monotheism was tried in Egypt, the source of the Hebrews' idea of one God? The answers seem to be no, no, and who knows? The Great Pyramids were over 1,000 years old when our ancestors, if they ever were in Egypt, were there. And the pyramids were supposedly built by Egyptian farmers as acts of love for their pharaoh during the 3 months of the year that the Nile floods and planting was impossible. At least that's a story we heard from our guides. And the idea of one God, Akhenaten did reign at about the same time that the Hebrews might have been in Egypt. But did he give the idea to the Hebrews, or perhaps it was the other way around? If the Hebrews stirred things up by preaching that there was only one God, I can imagine an irate group of Egyptian priests chasing out these rabble-rousers along with a mixed multitude, giving the biblical authors a convenient source of our Exodus story. Ultimately, does it matter to me? I see the Torah as a great story, firmly rooted in a place, in a time, and using as a backdrop real people and real locations. The validity of the story is not relevant in order for the message of the story to have meaning and importance. See the pyramids along the Nile, watch the sunrise on a tropic isle. Just remember, darling, all the while, you belong to me. The beauty of those lyrics remain regardless of where the pyramids are. And our story of national origin holds its power whether or not we built those pyramids. Shukran.
Shabbat Shalom. Shira has asked us to share our thoughts, feelings, or observations about the trip to Egypt and what it meant to all of us. I think we all have strong feelings coming back from the trip, but our trip to Egypt was my first Kol Ami trip, and my first trip to a place where I thought of as a birthplace of civilization. The sheer fact that a civilization existed there 5,000 years ago was mind-boggling to me. I was filled with anxiety about what to expect, but was pleasantly surprised by the immediate sense of community our group formed as we regrouped in Cairo once everybody had landed. One of the first things that became apparent to me was the power of the Nile. The sun and the Nile River gave Egypt its source of life. It created a fertile area for everything from navigation to farming, a fertile valley for people to prosper. What amazed me about this culture was this culture had to invent everything 5,000 years ago without the aid of any modern tools and techniques. They invented everything, as Josh pointed out. Early in the trip, we learned the important lessons of the Egyptians as they built pyramids that failed. They kept trying until they cracked the code. Imagine spending years building a pyramid only to see it crumble. The lessons of resilience in Egypt are profound. As we traveled throughout the country, I was struck by how much had been made from this stark landscape. In the middle of a desert, a civilization had been built as a labor of love, not as many of us have been taught to believe. Engineers, artisans, storytellers, and leaders constructed a civilization to support everyone in the belief that this would help the leaders, and possibly them, into the afterlife. Well, there was a hierarchy and a strong ruling structure. The Egyptians 5,000 years ago were able to move mountains of stone and craft them into incredible structures with both practical and religious meaning. The stories on the hieroglyphs were endless, and the meaning of many of the symbols represent many of the things that are still important today: nature, structure, religion, and maybe most importantly, community. No one person was responsible for this. While the population of Egypt in the Nile River Valley was significantly smaller than the 100 million people that it supports today, the community came together with similar goals. They worked together, they prayed together, they formed a powerful community, sharing a similar goal of positive things in the afterlife. In fact, there are many of the same things that we all see in Kol Ami today. Our synagogue and the community we share is a powerful reminder of how working together as a team and supporting positive contributions to our community can make it better. There were people I met for the first time and others I got to know better over the course of the trip, all cementing a strong communal bond. The community we share kept everyone in our trip focused on making the trip better for all.
Thank you for letting us in a little bit to the magic of this time. And each of you in some way referenced the power of community. And it's to that we turn on page 33, to blessings of healing, understanding that the strength of community allows us to express the yearnings of our hearts and to connect to one another with spirit. In introducing Misha Berach this evening, I wanted to share a note that my granddaughter wrote to her great-aunt Debbie, my sister-in-law, whose name I've been saying over these many last weeks and months. She writes, "I get how it's hard rushing to the hospital or staying at home, or maybe you sometimes might be alone. I don't see you a lot, but I love you so much, and I care about you, and it must be so hard to have cancer, and still so bright feelings. And at school, I'm reading a book about Frida Kahlo, and it said that Frida Kahlo says, 'Viva la vida,' and that means live life. And that's my message to you. Viva la vida. Live life. And I know it's hard, but don't waste the time you have. I love you." That too, reminding ourselves not to waste the time we have, is a source of healing. Page 33.
שבירך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב. מי שבירך אמותינו, שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. and bless us as well.
The wonder of life and its blessings, the scary parts and the wonderful parts bring us Aleinu l'shabeach. It's on us to praise. Page 36.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו ההם, וגור עלינו ככל המעולם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And still hoping in a dream of harmony and of oneness. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo We are seated and with pleasure invite forward both of Kol Ami's president, Hank Ruda, and Judy Sarch, for Shabbat greetings and announcements.
Like the Academy Award. It's off? No, it's on. Okay. Okay, it's so good to welcome our Egypt travelers and speakers, Doris Dingat, Andrew Ward, Josh Seiden, and Alan Steinfeld. I'm sorry, I know it's Alan Steinfeld, there's a typo here. Thank you for sharing your insights, and thank you to all the travelers for sharing these beautiful photos of Egypt. We also extend a special welcome to Dr. Philip Vukovasovich, I'm sorry, our featured speaker for tonight's Cineplex program. The doctor will retell the story of the Babylonian exile through the eyes of 5 generations of a single exilic family. This is a story of survival and adaptation that enables Judaism to thrive outside of Israel while still being connected to the Holy Land in ways that Jewish communities worldwide continue to relate to today. Tomorrow morning is our next Tat Shabbat. Please join us at 9 a.m. in the chapel for a wonderful service followed by snacks and craft activities.
Thanks,
okay. All righty. And then on Sunday, November 20th, is our Coachman Thanksgiving dinner that is coming back to Kol Ami. We're thrilled to welcome the Coachman families to this annual tradition, but we need your help. So volunteers are still welcome to help greet guests, assist with food prep, staging, serving, cleanup. Please sign up. There's a registration link in This Week at Kol Ami, or just track down Allison Adler with any questions. Looking ahead to the week after Thanksgiving, please join us on Friday, December 2nd, when Rabbi Joseph Sklut will be joining us for our Shabbat service and discussion afterward. And as the holidays are rapidly approaching, I know, we hope you could do some of your shopping at our Sisterhood Holiday Boutique, which is scheduled for Sunday, December 4th. And please note that the date for our security briefing has been changed to Monday, December 12th from 7:30 to 9 p.m. This briefing will be led by a security expert, Bill Hayes, of the Community Security Initiative, and the title of the briefing is Preparing for and Responding to Active Threats.
And because we're always looking ahead, next Cineplex is next month on December 9th, and it's going to be a very serious, staid evening of Who Knows One, which is actually a hilarious show about the Jewish community that has hit the Jewish community during the pandemic online, and it's reunited old friends. And what it does is it combines 6 degrees of separation and Jewish geography. Told you it was going to be funny. I have it on good authority that the heavyweight fight of the night is going to be Rabbi Jen Josephs against the undefeated champion of the world, me. So it is not a night to be missed. Again, Friday, December 9th. 2 days later, also not to be missed, is our annual blood drive on December 11th. And Jen, right in the nose. And save the date for some wonderful Hanukkah festivities. On Sunday, December 18th from 3 to 5 is going to be the community Hanukkah celebration. We're going to have a puppet show and a workshop where you can learn how to make your own puppet. Music by a great band led by our own Itamar Gavari. Crafts for kids, food trucks, candle lighting, and a lot more. And in addition, by popular demand, now that COVID is, of course, completely gone, we're bringing back the adult Hanukkah party. It's going to be hosted by Ruth Goldberg, as usual, at her beautiful home. Please join us on Wednesday, December 21st at 7 p.m. Registration is required. And one last save the date. Cantor Danny is not with us tonight. He is helping out at an installation of a friend, but he will be at Carnegie Hall on January 26th for a concert commemorating International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and tickets are on sale now. And all right, we got the one more.
Can you read that?
Yeah, I can. As part of our Reclaim Our Vote effort, a nonpartisan activity to provide information to people about when and where to vote in the Georgia Senate runoff, we have postcards available in bundles of 30 for anyone who didn't originally request them. Please look for that woman right there, Debbie Marcus, after services, and she'll give you the materials that you need. If we get just 9 more people to volunteer, and we'll have sent out over 1,500 postcards from Kol Ami alone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
What a lineup tonight. We take a moment to name those whom we remember on the Shabbat, inviting those who are remembering a chance to stand at the name of a loved one and to remain standing until we're all standing with you. This Shabbat follows the recent deaths of Lynn Shapiro, the aunt of Greg Arovis, Dr. William Lewitt, Dr. Robert Abrams, Eleanor Ellie Ann Lorden, Marjorie Engel Riccardi. If you are in a year of loss and would like to stand, we would like to hold you within our embrace. This Shabbat marks the yortzites of Alan Berman, Ann Castleman, Faye Corwin, Shirley Davis, Elsie Drescher, Kurt Dreyfus, Minnie Eckhouse, Steve Friedman, Ann Frisch, Gussie Goldman, Frederick Hahn, Stuart Hershey, Ira Hutter, Ruth Jacobowitz, Burton Kramer, Rose Levine, Reuben Levy, Rochelle Lindenauer, Ruth Marcus, Rochelle Meir, Ann Gordon Miller, Sidney Reese, Phil Rimland, Hyman Roche, Michael Rodstein, Henry Rothenberg, Jack Ruda, Herbert B. Ruskin, Ray Sarch, Francine Schlingbaum, Melvin Schneider, Betty Sequel, Esther Solomon, Steve Sorkin, Lawrence Tisch, Preston Robert Tisch, Joseph K. Weiner, Dr. Albert Wilner. Naming these aloud and naming others in our hearts, we stand together, turning to page 39 for reminders of the eternal presence through the words of the Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari ve'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mivarach li'olam ula'almei almaya, Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yitalal shemei jekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amin. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amin. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amin.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
We turn to page 40 for Kiddush, and everyone gets a cup of juice. There are cups being passed around, and some of our seventh graders perhaps will assist also in serving cups of juice. And hang on to the cup until the end of Kiddush, page 40, or forget the book and just sing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah le'mikrahei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidasha mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
L'chaim. So quickly stack the cups so your arms are free. A brief announcement following services. There are several Shabbat dinners happening at the same time. We'll all rejoin in the sanctuary for our rock star archaeologist. And I'm so excited to learn something I have know nothing about. And this treasure trove discovered only in 2015. And we'll be meeting back for learning together and then all joining together following the lecture, following the presentation for dessert. But blessings. So I invite you to put your arms around the people next to you. God blesses us through one another. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you.
May God bless you and watch over you.
Ya'er Adonai
Ya'er Adonai
panav elecha
panav elecha
v'yechuneka.
v'yikuneka.
May the light of God's grace shine on you.
May the light of God's grace shine upon you.
Yisa Adonai
Yisa Adonai
panav elecha
panav elecha
v'yasem lecha shalom.
v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God be with you
May God be with you
and bless you with peace.
and bless you with peace. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharein, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי העליון. כי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי העליון. כי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאצאיכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי העליון. כי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Shabbat Shalom.